and welcome back to the Flow Show. I'm Joanna Turner, Intuitive Business Mentor, and I am so looking forward to today's episode. We are talking all about the Lionsgate portal on the 8th of August. It is 888. It's all happening. It is peak abundance and manifesting time, and this is just something you do not want to miss out on this year. It's really important, and I am excited to chat all about it. So why am I so excited about the Lionsgate portal? Well, there are many, many different parts to this. And it is happening on the 8th of August. Like I said, August is an 8 month, and this year is 24, which is an 8. 2 times 4 is 8, which makes it an 888 portal. And 8 is a very significant number in numerology. It represents infinity. If you think about, if you laid the 8 down on its side, it creates the infinity. And we talked about this whole year way back in the podcast being an exciting year for abundance. And this date in particular is it. It's very exciting. And I just wanted a quick shout out to my friend Patricia Lohan, whose birthday is, of course, on the 8-8 portal. I believe she's turning 42, which is also an 8. So happy birthday, Patricia. You are a magical, sparkly unicorn of a person, and obviously with a birthday like that. So have a wonderful day. So little shout out to Patricia. I mean, who else? Are any of you guys born in this 8-8 portal? What an absolutely magical, magical time. So before we dive into a little bit more about it, I was just the magic of Facebook, right? And the memories. Have you ever looked at it? And you can kind of see that quite often you're up to some similar things when it comes up with the memories. You're like, yeah, I seem to do that every year on that date. Well, I was just looking back, a memory popped up and I thought, gosh, I am up to some pretty cool things in this portal. And it really has, if I look back over the last 10 years, like it's been really quite significant shifts that have happened in that Lionsgate portal. And in the lead up to it, it can feel quite challenging. It can feel quite daunting almost, because this is such a potent initiatory time that some of your stuff can come up before it. The shadowy stuff, the murky things, the things that need to be alchemized and removed out of your life on this portal to manifest into this beautiful, wonderful new space can come up. So you might have had a difficult few weeks. I personally have had a kind of interesting few weeks from one perspective. I've had a really awesome time in another perspective. But yeah, there's definitely part of my life that is showing up to be changed, my relationship with it. So I'm going to be diving into that as well, I keep having to do the work. I don't think it ends, guys. It does get easier, but I'm not sure it quite ends. So when I look back at this portal, I realized I had my first big month of travel in LA. That was in 2015. Actually, with 2014, I probably made some big decisions about learning courses and starting my business. I started my year-long transformational course around that time. I did my first big whole month in LA was in August of 2015. And that was really the first time I gave myself the permission to join 2 trips into one and spend a whole month somewhere instead of being at home. And that is what kicked off really my whole nomadic 4 years totally on the road without a home address. So I didn't really join those dots together. Then 2016, back in LA, I hosted my first big women's conference, seminar, event thing, a 3-day multi-speaker event with over 100 people. And that was also in this time. And I feel like some of these big potent times. And then 2018 Lionsgate portal was huge for me. I had been in Estonia. I've talked about this before, but I ended up going around the UK 2 weeks after this other girl who I wear her codes as tattoos on my body. But she was sort of going through, she went to Stonehenge and then Rosslyn Chapel, and she was doing this big tour of the UK, going to the sacred sites, and she was doing the clearing work. And then 2 weeks later, during this Lion's portal, I would accidentally end up in the kind of same place and follow up her work with what I do. So that was a really, really potent time. I feel like the synchronicities, the flow were just off the chart. Some of my best stories come from that portal of time, when the most magical things were happening. So I feel like it was just bananas. And then last year, something that really has kicked off a lot of the conversation that we've had on the podcast. I've mentioned numerous times that last year in 2023, during the Lionsgate portal, was the time when Scotland's dragon lines and portals opened up. They'd been sealed off and closed for a very long time, and they finally opened up during that Lionsgate portal last year, which is making Scotland this really potent, energetic place up until 2026. And I believe it'll be in the Lionsgate again that they close in 2026. So we're in this really potent time, and again going into this window. So I know I'm popping a couple of podcasts up pretty close together, but I just didn't want to miss out talking about this, and I've been so activated and inspired this morning. I was like, right, I must do this, I must get it out. The last episode, I sat on it for about a week trying to edit it all together, so I just wanted to get this out today, and it's Thursday, the 1st of August that I'm recording this on. So we're in the portal already. Some people believe it opens around July 26th and will run all the way till August 19th. And there's a little bit of wiggle room either side of that. And obviously the time around the 8th of August will be extra potent. That's how it works. But like any new moon or full moon, you have a time before it and then after it that is still potent and exciting, and this whole time really is just a beautiful time to access this energy and really embody it and love it. So really, really exciting time. So we're also every year, obviously at this time of year, we come into Leo season, the lion, and it's really a beautiful time for self-expression. Obviously the lion is all about royal energy, power, all of that kind of thing. But it's also about play, right? We're not going to just be all raw and wild. If you've ever looked at lion cubs playing, there's a beautiful, playful energy with lions as well. So they're also the star of the show. So we really want to be diving into our main character energy again. That is definitely what this season is all about. And if you want a little bit more depth on the main character energy stuff, one of the days of the Quantum Leap Challenge was all about that, all about your main character energy. So there'll be a link in the show notes. You can check that out. It's on YouTube. So definitely a really cool time for stepping into your power, who you are. It's also a really potent time of being activated in your spiritual gifts. One of the things that happened to me in, was it the 2018 Lions portal? I was in Glastonbury as well, and I was accidentally activated, is that what you call it? Initiated into Reiki levels 1 and 2 without technically my consent. There was a mix-up with the lady, and this was she went ahead and did, and I was so oblivious. I thought she was doing just some random healing, and I'd already been randomly initiated into Reiki levels 1 and 2 just a couple of months before that. So I was like, I definitely didn't feel like I needed it again because I kind of accidentally had it already, like without asking for it a couple of months before that. So yeah, it was just a really weird time. But I think that activation, obviously, I trust it was necessary at some level. And it went on to have a bigger impact. But yeah, so this time, your spiritual gifts can really come online. Things can be extra activated. Maybe your spiritual awakening will be starting to happen. Maybe you're finding this podcast because you're like, what is happening to me? Things are changing. What is going on? I totally get that. So there's a lot of things happening, a lot of change happening around this time. And also just this time of year is a really beautiful time of year. It's in the Northern Hemisphere, high summer. It's, a time when you want to be out and about and celebrating and enjoying yourself. And we're coming into a beautiful time of traditional harvest time. And that has a lot to do with abundance and that theme as well of this time of year, when things are overflowing, your garden's overflowing, things are in full bloom. It's a really nice time to lean into this energy of receiving and allowing. So we'll get into a bit more of that. So what is happening at this time of year? On this portal, it's actually when the star Sirius lines up with Orion's belt and the sun when it's in Leo. So that is the alignment that is happening. And Sirius is a very high vibration, very activating, and it's a really exciting alignment that happens. I feel very connected, I've mentioned before, to Orion's belt and to that energy. And we've talked again a number of times on the podcast about the symbology and the energy of Clava Cairns, which also has the Orion's belt sacred alignment geology, which matches up with Giza as well. So it's potent. It's a time of grid work. You might feel drawn to be somewhere for the Lion's Gate. At the very least, it'd be lovely to carve out time that day to sit in meditation, to be in nature, to do something a little bit special for yourself. If you're not drawn to some sacred site or somewhere significant like that, but just taking that time out and giving yourself some space to get into this beautiful alignment. And I'm going to be popping out a little bonus meditation as well. It will be separate from this chat because I didn't want you to have to get to the end or find it 45 minutes in or however long this is. So you'll be able to access that straight away, and it'll be coming straight out after this one. So I hope you enjoy that, and it is something you can listen to, and it will be really beautiful and activating. It's something you can listen to as soon as it comes out, and really any time you want to, but throughout the whole portal, it would be a really beautiful time to tune in and listen to that, to really activate these themes of abundance, of power, infinity, receiving. And also Sirius is all about the heart chakra. It's about expanding and opening your heart chakra. And really, when we do that, we allow so much more. We can really tune into gratitude and peace and love. And that is really what we are wanting to bring through in this time. So really beautiful time of manifestation, and you really want to be going for your big goals. This is not a time to hold back. It's just not a time to be holding back. You want to be really dreaming big, going bold, envisaging that real highest version of you. Don't play it small now. This is not the time to be playing small. Actually, a little story I'm just remembering again with Patricia. Her energy is very potent at the moment. I talked about her on the last podcast as well, because we met up for lunch in Edinburgh a week or two ago. So talk about Patricia, we've met up all over the world. We met in Bali, we've been back in Bali, we've met in Australia, LA, San Diego, the UK, Dublin a couple of times. So we've done some really beautiful travel together, which is so nice because so often your friends, you don't get to always meet them all over the world, but we've had a really cool connection that way. I was back in Bali and Patricia, I wasn't meaning to tell this story, but you never mind. Patricia said to me, look, I want to treat you. I want to take us off on a little private retreat, just the two of us. She wanted to take me up into the mountains in the north of Bali. So really beautiful, sacred place. And she managed to find us this little house that's not really available for rent, but it was. And we went up to this beautiful place, and she'd organized these sacred ceremonies, a Balinese water ceremony. Then we hiked up to the top of this hill, which I nearly threw up on. I was so unfit. And but it was beautiful. And we had a guide up to the top of this mountain thing. And we sat up there and had a picnic and drank coconuts. And she'd booked us massages. And it was just gorgeous. The food was incredible. And it was just a really lovely 2 or 3 nights out of time. We'd go to the beach and it was just incredible. But we kind of both knew there was something was brewing. We kind of knew there was something coming. And while I was getting my massage, and we were both dancing around it because she's like, I know that you know that we're going to do something here, but we don't really know what's happening. And we just rolled with it. And during my 2-hour massage, I had one, then she had one. And in my massage, I was like, oh, we've got to work on each other tonight. And I'm going to work on Patricia first, and then she's going to do something on me. And so I came back and I told her that, and I said, after your massage, come back. We're doing something. And she came back, and I opened the Akashic Records and was guided to do a process. And we'd had her back in this deep, ancient past life. And it was like she'd been locked in a cage, and we awakened this ancient priestess energy. She'd been like locked up, chained and locked up, I think, for her spiritual gifts. And when she got out of this cage, she roared like a lion, like the lion she is, in this time. And she's actually got kind of reddish hair as well. So she roared like a lion in the valley we were staying in. And as she's releasing and reclaiming her power, it was just like a wild like activation. And we actually had this local man come round because he thought somebody was maybe being murdered. He just like looked at us and was like, everything okay here? And we were like, oh, so sorry about the noise. We didn't realize it reverberated around this whole valley. And he's like, okay, everything okay? And he goes, ceremony? And we went, yes, ceremony. And he was like, okay, no problem. And just left us alone. And we were like, oh my God. And so she'd had this obviously big, beautiful activation. And then it was her turn to work on me. But if you've ever just activated someone's dormant priestess energy that has been locked and caged away for thousands of years from a past life, and then let them work on you, let me tell you, that was some potent stuff. Like, I was throwing up gallstones. I mean, that is how potent this activation she did on me was. It was wild. I was physically sick and just processing energy, and my body was convulsing and vibrating and into the small hours of the night. Like, I didn't know if it was going to stop. It was crazy. And the next day we went down to the beach. We had these guys pick us up on mopeds, take us down to the beach, and then come back for us a couple of hours later. And we did this other thing on the beach. And again, I was just throwing up, and it was just unreal. Like, I was so activated. And I went back to Ubud. We went back, we got a taxi back that day, and I was just sick, physically just throwing up for about a week. Not ill. I wasn't ill, but my body was purging. My body was just like, absolutely no way, this energy is no longer staying in you or stuck in you. And I went to see another couple of healer people, as you do in Bali, got more massages. I did a soul constellations thing that was just insanely powerful, and I was being sick at that as well. It was just nuts. Anyway, that is the kind of energy you might expect during this time, right? If you're no longer ready to hold on to the stuff, it can be a powerful, powerful time. Anyway, I had no intention of telling you that story, but here we go. Who knew? A lot of things, as I said, are heightened in this time, but it is this opportunity for your personal growth, spiritual awakening, manifestation, transformation, you name it. If you want to create it, now is the absolute time. And it's just such an exciting time, and new beginnings are upon us. The other thing is, just before this 8/8 on August, when about 2 days when you get this, when this goes live, on the 4th of August, there is a new moon in Leo. So as always, a new moon is a very potent time to set intentions. So this is going to be extra potent. So you might as well kick off this portal by taking some time out and setting some beautiful intentions on that new moon. Again, grounding, connecting with nature, doing whatever you need to do to set those beautiful intentions. And obviously I'll have the meditation up, so you might want to do that meditation on the new moon, and then again on the 888. So you could do it every day during this time if you really wanted to. There are no rules about that. The other interesting thing just to note around this time, which is a little bit different from normal, is that we are going into Mercury Retrograde on the 5th of August in Virgo, and it's going to be retrograde until the 28th of August. Now, like I said, the energy is kind of potent before something and after. Mercury retrograde has what's known as their shadow, pre-shadow, post-shadow of this time. So it's already some of the energy that we might feel during this time is kind of foreshadowed in a sense. So you'll probably be feeling it already. And if you're not aware, most of you I'm sure will be, but Mercury retrograde is a time when, well, it's the planet of communication and it is going backwards in the sky. And so things to do with communication, travel, IT, that kind of things can feel a little bit wonky. And some people are scared of it. Personally, that's not how I feel. When I'm in this time, I allow it to, well, it's a slow down. It just slows you down a little bit. But really, I like to think of it as slowing me down to speed up, which is really the whole ethos of flow anyway. I call that flow motion. So not slow motion, flow motion, but it's slowing down to speed up. So often, and I talked in the last episode about the void. So if we're always trying to like rush around and do this and that, we can miss the keys, miss the signs, miss the nudges, miss all that stuff, right? We don't really take a chance to reevaluate, to take time out. So if you want to think about Mercury retrograde in a positive way, just think of it as a time where it's slowing you down a little bit to reevaluate what is going on, right? What are we taking into this new chapter? What are we leaving behind? What are you purging? You don't need to be on the side of a valley roaring or physically purging, but what is happening for you in this time? So along with that, something I just like to keep in mind during this time is grace. Some grace in terms of your plans, your communication. And I assume that most things will change at least once. If I have an appointment set up with somebody, I'm not going to be surprised if they are running late, if they need to move it. And anytime really, like I just go, okay, no problem. I just did my latest podcast with Christine Williams. You can find that on YouTube. And it was really great. But she had to move it once because her internet had gone out. And then when we were supposed to do it, she was delayed by 15 minutes for some reason. And I just roll with it. It just doesn't bother me in the slightest. I'm not offended. I'm not bothered. I'm just like, okay, in the greater flow of time, this is not meant to happen in this moment. It's supposed to be in 2 weeks, or it's supposed to be 15 minutes later. And I just assume that if that's the best for me. So don't get offended if things change. Don't be surprised if your travel plans change. If I have client appointments around this time, I assume somebody's going to be late or change an appointment. And if that doesn't happen, I'm almost surprised. So it's just a time to roll with it, allow for these things. And I find that the more that you are in your central column, like we discussed last time, the eye of the storm, and a little bendy, then it's cool, you know? The less you allow yourself to get riled up by things changing or people changing their minds and their plans, the better, right? So this whole time is going to be much better. And obviously, as you know, we're always manifesting all the time. So we want to be staying as much as possible in that high vibrational state of gratitude, of love, of appreciation, right? That's not spiritual bypassing. We're obviously dealing with all the shadowy stuff that comes up. If whatever I've said already makes you feel a little like wonky, or you're like, yeah, whatever, Joe, it's not happened before, it's not going to happen now, what's the point? If you've had any of that stuff come up, that's okay. We understand. We've all been there. But just notice what that is. And is that something maybe for you to release, to change at this time? Right. Obviously, we're in this portal as well of the Olympics, and I have watched a little bit of it. And we're not going to talk about the opening ceremony. I'm not even sure what I think about all that. So many different views. Yeah. Not sure about that one. But I also held back about speaking about it because I was like, I don't know. There's so many different bits of information and viewpoints, and I've just kind of left it. I think, are we over that now? I feel like we're over that. But I do appreciate watching phenomenal feats of physical talent. And for instance, just last night, I watched Leon Marchand, the French guy, get 2 golds in one night in individual events and 2 Olympic records. Like, what on earth was that about? Just unbelievably phenomenal. Anything is possible. He was told, his coach told him, don't try it. It's pointless. Michael Phelps, who his coach used to coach, never attempted it, like always thought it was just not possible. So I love that he made a big bold goal and he went for it, right? No matter what. And there was another guy, I can't remember his first name, in the men's triathlon, something Yi of Great Britain. And with 2.5 kilometers to go in his run, he heard the voice out of this whole crowd, Alistair Brownlee, who is also a very decorated British triathlete. He and his twin brother used to be really well known on the scene. They're not competing this year, but he heard him say something like, anything is possible, just go for it. And at 2.5 kilometers out, he's miles behind the leader. I don't even know if he was in a medal position at that point. He just thought, anything is possible. I'm going to go and do this. And with 2.5 kilometers to go in this grueling Olympic distance triathlon, he clawed it back and came in for just the most phenomenal sprint finish, the last 200 meters. He left everything out on that course, absolutely everything. And just so much respect for him. I used to do triathlons back in my 20s and just absolutely loved it. And just so impressed with the likes of Flora Duffy. She was Bermudian. I used to live in Bermuda, and just love watching her compete and race. And she won it last time, got gold, and this time she was 5th in her final 5th Olympics. I mean, these people, their capabilities are just beyond me. I'm so impressed with how they're showing up and just going for it. So yeah, really, really exciting time in general. So you're slowing down to speed up, flow motion. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Things change. All right. So always the 8. And this time is about abundance, money, finances. So it's just a really good time to tune into that. Tune into what you want, what you're creating. It doesn't have to be about finances, it can be. But what else do you want to have in abundance in your life? You get to decide what that looks like for you. And you might be in the middle of a huge pivot. Things are ending. It's all good. We can roll through this. You're not given any more to deal with than you are able to sustain. And I always come back to that. There is an answer to everything. When a problem is created, so too is the answer. That is the law of duality. It is so powerful to be able to tune into that energy and remind yourself of that if you are going through a difficult time. So we're all going to have a different experience of this Lionsgate portal. I hope it is absolutely magical for you. And I was inspired this morning on my walk with Bella, as always. That's where my best ideas come from. Taking the time out in nature, not listening to anything. And I was like, what? Is there something it just was like, do something special for the Lionsgate? And I was like, okay, what would that be? And then I was like, oh, of course it would have to be priced at $888. Right. So cheesy, but that's what came through. And so I'm going to offer a Lionsgate Akashic Business Alignment special half-day intensive. So if this is something that you are interested in, I'd be so love to work with you on it. These half-day VIP intensives are 2.5 hours of intensive time, and then we have a 30-minute follow-up afterwards, and we just dive into whatever you need in that moment. So we fill out a form beforehand so that I can get an idea of what's going on. I can review whatever you need in business, have a look at your website, check out the themes. I tune into your energy before our call. Sometimes it starts days in advance. If I've got the information, the messages and things start coming through. I'm like, okay, yeah, we need this, we need that. And so it really allows us a chance to dive into whatever we need to and get straight to work. It is a really impactful, potent, punchy session. We can cover a lot, whether it is wanting a review of your whole strategy, your overall business messaging, your pricing, your packages. We can look into all of that stuff and then create a plan for the rest of the year, even for next year, an overview. So we can really dive into all these things. But the most magical part of this is we do it with the help of the Akashic Records, because why wouldn't you, right? They give us this beautiful higher vision point to be able to see everything that we need. And it also allows us to tap into any blocks or things that are holding you back. And the thing I love about the Akashic Records, and I'm sure I've mentioned it before, is it gives us the opportunity to pull the red thread that is usually there is one issue underpinning most of your problems. And it's certainly in your business, right? Whether it's around abundance, attracting clients, all of that, there's usually one block, one issue. And we can, they point us, the beautiful masters, teachers, and loved ones, the Akashic Records point us to that specific thing that we can go and work through that will open up the rest of your success. So I love doing these sessions. They're all different. Will meet you exactly where you are in your business. You might want to completely redesign it. You might not know where you're going. You might it might be all personal stuff. It might be just about the blocks and you're not quite ready to focus on the strategy stuff. So we will get loads done in that time because we've got the time to do a bit of prep work. We can really dive in and be super focused. And we've got some ongoing support for a couple of weeks and then a follow-up session. So we get a lot done. It's really awesome. They're one of my favorite things to do because they're just so impactful. So if that is something that interests you, it is available during this portal, of course, for $888 US. And there are only going to be 8 spots available because your girl just can't do any more than that in this time. And I don't want to burn myself out. I'm very clear about that. So you will get lots of transformation and eyes on your business, and I would love to help you. So if that's something that is of interest, I will leave the link to sign up for that below, and you just book into my diary and we dive in and we get it done. Simple as that. What else? I really appreciate you being here today. Thank you so much. And as always, I appreciate likes, shares, reviews. Massively appreciate that. Thank you so much. It just really helps other people who are maybe going through similar things get a little nugget or another step on the path of their journey, awakening, pilgrimage, whatever they're on. So we really, really appreciate that. And I just wish you loads of love for this beautiful, energetic time. I would love to know what you're manifesting, how it's going for you, what's coming up for you. You can send me a message on Instagram. You can write on the Q&A in the podcast, an opportunity to do that. Comment on YouTube, wherever you are listening to this. Please feel like you can reach out, contact me. If you've got any insights from this, if it is useful, I would love to know. And obviously, I'm going to put up a beautiful meditation next. So please tune into that, enjoy that, and I will see you on the other side. Take care.